Aloha. This is our owner call where we have a chance to get Linda and I in the same place virtually, if not actually sitting at this new interesting looking kitchen. Um,
Aloha, everyone.
so we just wanted to have a couple of moments to chat about some stuff. I either have an opportunity to write a really long email that nobody will watch, or hopefully we have a chat with you guys and let you know kind of what's going on, what's happening, and what's on our minds, topical issues. So this time we're going to be covering a couple of different items. Number one is communications. We want to clarify how best to communicate with the team. So we'll cover our new communications guideline that will be being sent out with owner statements this month. And we're also wanting to cover some just property care topics in general. So I'll get a little bit more specific with that as we jump in. So the first part is the communications guideline. I know that we have adjusted the way that we communicate with everybody over the last year or so as we've grown as a company. We've done this for a couple of different reasons. Number one, for clarity of the staff. We want to make sure that everybody knows how to communicate with each other when people take time off, because we want to encourage that to happen. We want to allow them to have time off and not be contacted on their personal lines, getting inundated with work stuff all the time when they're trying to have some time off. And then also communication for both our vendors and you guys as our owners. We want to make sure that you know who to call and how to get in contact with somebody when you need an answer, how to contact somebody directly if you've got an issue that just goes straight to one person. So our communication guideline will lay out all of that. Like I said, it'll come with our normal owner statement at the end of this month, and that will have all of the proper extensions and all of kind of our protocol for how to call in and who to talk to, what to use for the text line, and who to direct specific questions to. And then also, just to make sure you all have it, it'll have a list of our personal extensions. That way, if you were trying to get a hold of just Jed or you want to get a hold of just Linda, you have that information to go straight to their phone lines.
And also, just so you know, the main text number, we all have an app on our phone, Tina, Jed, and I. So that's a good way, and that will be in the guide, but you'll know that you're actually reaching all of us. Whoever's on is going to be the one more likely to pick it up, but at least we're all aware of it, because when we go on our individual, then we are forwarding and things get a bit confused. So we just want to make sure that you're getting the right kind of communication that you need.
Yep, exactly. So then after that, I want to jump into just basically some property care discussion, some things that we're noticing popping up, and some ways that we're trying to make sure that we're all on the same page with property care in general. We've been doing a ton of work. We hired a new person in May. His name's Anthony. He's been doing just an amazing job with us. He works as a part runner, delivering wow gifts and small items to guests throughout the week, but he's also, I would say at this point, 2/3 handyman, and he's an on-staff maintenance person, and we've been just keeping him busy like we'd hoped. We have a lot of stuff to get done. This being kind of a shoulder season where there's a bit of a dip in occupancy, it gives us an opportunity to get in and do some of that extra work. So we've been running him just constantly, which is great, but we're also finding that we want to make sure that we keep level of expectations kind of all on the same page. We want to be aligned with you as to what your expectations are for property care. So kind of the first part of that is I want to talk about cleaning a little bit, and how a regular clean differs from a deep clean, which differs from kind of what I would call the toothbrush on the grout clean. So a standard clean that the guest pays for is going to be our normal business that gets done at least once or twice per property per week as we move reservations in and out. And that clean covers everything from normal high touch surfaces. We do all of a linen change out at that point, laundering of all of the linens throughout the property, vacuum, mopping of the floors, all that stuff that needs to happen, the standard stuff between reservations, that gets done then. If anybody's curious about it, we do have a list of exactly what that clean looks like, and I'd be happy to send it to anybody. So if you're interested, let me know, and I can show you exactly what we expect of a normal clean. So that differs.
And you can see the reviews. Actually, those cleans for the guests, for the huge majority, are getting 5-star. I
Yep.
mean, we have the odd problems here and there, but for the most part, the guests are really happy with those cleans.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly. So even between those cleans, there is, the potential for things to build up. That's why we have what we call a deep clean, which is that regular clean. I would say it's about 3 times as in depth as a regular clean. So our cleaners will go in and they'll spend anywhere from twice the amount of time to 3 times the amount of time in a property to do a deep clean. And that's really where they're moving items aside and they're washing behind, like a microwave that's mounted on the counter. This espresso machine over my shoulder, that's where we would move that aside and we would get all the nooks and crannies behind it. We would polish the tile behind that. We'd move all the toasters. It's basically just cleaning out everything and cleaning underneath things like that. So I would expect, kind of as I'm looking up here in the kitchen, we didn't intentionally put ourselves in the kitchen, but it's a good background for the conversation.
Yeah.
That's where I'd say we'd pull all that stuff out. We do a wipe down and make sure that everything in all those nooks and crannies is pretty well clean, and things like that. So that's kind of what the deep clean is. That's going to get you quite a bit cleaner. And most properties will go for several years without needing to have more than just a regular deep clean that we'll do every quarter or so. Then there's something that we kind of refer to as an owner deep clean, which is, as an owner, I go into my property and I see every little tiny thing. And those are the times where I'm going to go, all right, I'm going to take, a rag and I'm going to get up into the corner by the baseboards where I've seen that spot for, the last 2 times I've been here, and I'm going to clean out all that stuff. And so that is a different level. That's where I'm getting out my toothbrush and getting on the ground and scrubbing grout out, or, little crevices between cracks that nobody might notice or care about, but I, as an owner, am going to see it and think, oh, I just want to clean that. That's a different level of clean than we offer on a regular basis. And if that's a level of clean that you're going to expect or to want, I've got kind of two suggestions, two different ways that we can have that happen. Number one, we can help you contract with a deep cleaning company that's going to be more like a Serve Pro or a restoration cleaning company that's really going to get in there and do that job. We're talking steam cleaning the walls kind of thing. That's what
And those are more like construction cleans
Correct.
too. And they're usually, depending on the size of the property, they're usually somewhere between $1,000 and $2,000. Unless it's a really big house, it could be even more than that.
Right. And then we have another option that a lot of our owners do, where they will come to town and they'll be, they'll plan on staying there for 2 weeks. In 3 or 4 days, they actually spend the time doing that deep clean themselves, where they will, clean all up behind the blinds and in the tracks and all of that kind of stuff, which is places that we will usually get close to, but not all the way down in those cracks. So those owners take the time to do that, and we support that, and we want to help as much as we can. That on top of our standard window cleanings, carpet cleanings, pest control, and all that other stuff, that is done for you on a regular basis. But to get that deep level of clean that we're talking about, that some owners look for, that's a third level that we can help you work with, and we can help to support. But we just want to make sure that we're clear with you. We're going to get it 85% of the way clean, but there's always going to be a couple of things that we can't get to, or if we did, we're going to be spending a ton of your money on a regular basis to make sure it gets done. So we want to find that happy medium there with you. So if you're not comfortable with the level of clean that you're getting, let us know, and we can help to find a solution on how to get to that level where you're happy. So that kind of covers our cleanliness portion. The next thing I wanted to talk about was maintenance versus upgrades. So being that we've had a year of really good rental rates this year and things like that, a lot of owners are wanting to do some upgrades, and we totally support that, and we think that's great, because in the long run, that's the way to continue those rental rates increasing and coming in, and those 5-star reviews and everything like that.
And it increases the value of your property
Correct.
as well. In many cases, like if you're adding air conditioning or
Yep.
that sort of upgrade, we totally support that, because you're not only going to get a better rental income, but you're also going to have more value in your real estate.
Yep, exactly. What I wanted to chat about, though, was the difference between what we'd consider to be regular ongoing maintenance of the property versus these upgrades that we're talking about. We have a great system in place to handle the wear and tear and normal property issues that come along with the rental. And that is where Anthony, Mark McDaniel, Ron, that we work with, those guys are there to fix, like again, over my shoulder, the faucet not working quite properly, or the sink not draining, or the plug over there where Linda's standing, if those kind of things have issues during the guest stay that is going to impede the guest experience, that's totally within our wheelhouse. That is something that is ours all the way. And that's something that we will do on a normal basis and we'll take care of on a normal basis. The things that start to get a little bit outside of our wheelhouse are, like saying, I don't like the whole cabinet countertop setup, and some guests have said that it looks dated. Can you guys fix that for me? That's really where we're going to have to kind of hit, timeout. We're going to pause and say, look, that's a different level of stuff than we're able to really handle well. Or if some of these tiles,
or even replacing blinds, that's one
right,
that's come up quite a bit, and
right,
it's really, really time consuming to try and do that
right.
as a company that's not a blind company,
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's really what it comes down to right there. What Linda just said is exactly right. When it comes to the ongoing maintenance that is required to run the vacation rental well, that's what we specialize in, and that's what we're good at doing, and that's what we're great at, just knocking out. Anything that takes between 30 minutes and say 2 hours is really within our wheelhouse. If we can go in and get a new plug, installed, or we can replace the faucet, or we can unclog a sink or something like that, that's really where our guys are specialties in that level of stuff. When it gets to something really special, like replacing a window, I know that we've got a couple of window jalousie type storm windows, those type where you either crank them up and down, or they have a lever that moves up and down. When those things go and they start dropping, panes of glass out the window, those are quite a bit more difficult for us to fix and get all the materials for. So that's where we're going to say, all right, let's get you in touch with somebody who knows how to do windows, and we're going to pass this off to them. And what we're going to do in that scenario is we're going to help you find the right vendor for the project, and then we're going to work with that vendor on scheduling, on access, and on timing of all of that stuff, so that we can help make sure that whenever that work can get done, we are helpful in allowing that work to get done. But this is where the owner manager partnership really comes in, because those upgrade issues that we're having, where there's going to be a significant cost involved, where there's going to be a style involved, and where there's going to be a non-recurring expense that is an owner expense, we really need your involvement in that, because we can't make those decisions on your behalf and be sure that you're going to be happy with the way we do it, nor do we have the experience in that particular specialty, whether it's windows or whether it's AC or whether it's, pick your specialty, or a plumbing issue, say. Those are going to be places where we're going to be able to serve you best by linking you up with the people who do that best, and then helping to make sure that they have all the access they need to get the job done.
Yes, because when we get in the middle of it, it ends up taking hours of our time, and we don't really have the expertise anyway. So we're just conveying between the person that knows and the owner. And it's so much easier if the owner is just making the decision. One of the issues is, like, for you to go into Home Depot and an owner will say, well, I want this from Home Depot, or I want this from Costco. As an example, we sent Anthony yesterday to pick up a couch, and the couch wasn't even there anymore. So then you don't even have the couch. You don't know when it's going to come. You don't know where to get another couch. It's not the same. So there's a point that the owner has to be totally involved in the selection, and then we can do the pickup, and we can arrange the schedule for them to come in. But those kind of decisions, when we're in the middle of it, we a lot of the times we're spinning our wheels.
Right. And so what ends up happening is we end up not doing the job well. You get frustrated by that. We're frustrated by that. We're not actually being paid for any of that additional work that we're doing. That's something we're just trying to help out with. And although it's well-intentioned, I think it's probably not serving your best interest in the long run, because we're not solving the problem. Everybody's getting frustrated, and and nobody's getting the benefit of either being paid or having their problem solved. So we want to kind of remove ourselves from the middle of that if possible, and just work as coordinators of your decision-making process. So if that's clear, I hope that's clear. We want to help, we want to be part of the solution, but it's not necessarily our area of expertise. We're really good at finding renters, creating listings, getting people in, managing the rentals, managing the guests, as you've seen, that's a whole business in and of itself, without trying to also manage kind of construction upgrades and all that kind of stuff. So one of the things I wanted to say about that, though, is we're always looking to try and make our processes better, try and make our offering better to owners. I wonder, we've had a couple of people who have expressed interest in us helping this process along in the past, and we've normally just kind of pushed it off and said, no, we're not, that's just not what we do, kind of like the message I just gave. So I'd be curious to hear from you if you're listening to this message and you think, but I don't know who the vendors are to talk to. I don't know the right people to talk to. I don't know, what the process is necessarily to get those upgrades done. And I need some help. We're considering starting to work with somebody who's more of a dedicated kind of project fixer for these kind of things. And I'd be curious to see from your perspective as an owner, if you have thoughts on this, can you please let me know? Because what we want to do is, if there is a way that we can be more helpful and more instrumental in allowing those things to happen, and maybe working more on a dedicated basis with a few people to get those things happening, then we can work as a facilitator more for those projects to happen. That will take some extra work from us, and that will take some extra process. But at the same time, we fully appreciate that we operate on a small island where you have to know people to get work done. You have to know who to talk to in the first place. And sometimes the best case scenario is you're not going to get a chance to have multiple bids from 3 different blinds companies. You're going to have to almost beg somebody to come out and even look at the job in the first place. So we don't have the opportunity to really, cost shop and things like that. And you have even less of an option for that. So that's where we're
and things are so much more expensive here. Just to having lived here originally since 1978, the relationships, when we ask somebody to do something for us, they're really doing us a favor, because they have an alternative of 10 other jobs. So they know that we're going to pay them quickly. They know that we're easy to work with. We're going to make it easy for them to get into a property so we can get them. But we need somebody that coordinates that. And we do have someone that's working with one of our owners right now, and she's coordinating the painting of the inside, part of the outside, a lot of new furniture, and she's being compensated by the owners to do that. But it saves them a lot of time, and she can be very quick to do it because she knows what stores, she has relationships with the vendors. For example, getting a couch, they liked her, so they're going to let her buy the couch. That's the situation we're in, that so few things are getting to the island. And when they do get to the island, they're bought immediately. So it's basis of hours sometimes to pay for something. So it's not like the old days where you could shop and wait and hold and wait for a sale. It doesn't work that way. And we do want to encourage you to improve your properties, because you'll make more money, we'll make more money. So we're willing to put some time into it, but we just can't be the in between, because we can't do it well enough. That's not our expertise.
Right. We don't want to set everybody up for failure, because that's where I talk about managing expectations. So if we can all have the expectation that we're going to work together on a project, and then we're going to have somebody else who's really specializing in getting that work done, I think we'll be in a much better position to help you do upgrades, to help you manage some of these long-term fixes that we need to do on a property by property basis. And that kind of leads me to the last point I wanted to make before we click off for now, which is just we're continuing to do our maintenance inspections, and we are going to continue to do maintenance inspection reports that we send to you. And again, these are not necessarily anything but us trying to give you visibility on what our perspective of the quality and the upkeep of your property has been to this date. And so that is not meant as anything of a slight or us picking on anybody. And it's definitely not us trying to generate revenue. It's just us trying to say, look, here's where your property stands as of right now. Here's some things that we can suggest. And based on what those issues are, we might just create a small task list to do some small, property maintenance stuff, standard maintenance wear and tear items. And then we might also at the same time say, but there are several other options that we want to talk about, get on your radar for doing upgrades, because these are going to be impediments to future revenue at some point, and start planning that process with you. So again, those maintenance inspections, we did them about a quarter ago. So the next wave are starting to filter through. I'm seeing those pop up on the schedule pretty soon. So our goal will be to continue to do those maintenance inspections on a quarterly basis and send you those inspection reports so that you've got visibility as to what the current level of care of your property is, what's needed, what we need to plan for the future, and you know, what's going well. So,
and it gives you a chance to budget too,
yeah,
if
exactly.
for future things that need to be replaced.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So thank you very much. If you've stuck on to the very end of the video, we intended this to be a 3 to 4 minute video, but sometimes
Sorry.
want to say. But thank you very much. We appreciate everybody's support, and we appreciate your business. And as always, if you've got any questions, concerns, comments, you know, just give us a shout, and we'll be happy to chat with you about them. So
Yeah, feel
aloha.
free to reach out. No
Yeah.
problem.
All right.
Aloha.
Aloha.